your host, Empress Coach Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com, Divine Intervention Show and Podcast. And this is our AM inspiration to wake that ass up. The one, the only, the original. Because, you know, often imitated, never duplicated. Period. The only AM inspiration show to wake that ass up. We are streaming live via YouTube, Spotify, StreamYard, Facebook, Clubhouse. If you are on Clubhouse and you're in those Clubhouse streets, come on through. Hit that greenhouse and follow the club. Make sure that you're pinging the room and sharing some people in. If you want to come to the stage, make sure you're raising your hand. Keep them comments 1 to 2 minutes because we are streaming live. Now, also, we are streaming live from another drop-in audio ad called Spoon. With that being said, what's up, Spooncasters? Y'all always there. Y'all always supporting. Y'all always live. Y'all always lit. Period. Now, shout out to Facebook. If you on Facebook, you already know what to do. I'm seeing everything y'all saying to me live via StreamYard. So hit those buttons, come to the stage, and turn your videos on. Let's get it. Let's go. Today, the topic is, without trust, your relationship will fail. Now, with that being said, I'm going to give y'all another 20 seconds of this live music, and we're going to get right into that topic. All right, y'all. Peace, peace, peace. This is Empress Coach Rena Nicole. You know, so we are here with the AM Inspiration Show, the one and the only, with original and authentic content, period. Okay? Now, this topic is for people that are in relationships, you know, or trying to build relationships. This topic is definitely for you because without trust, your relationship will not survive the test of time. Point blank, period. Okay? So with that being said, let's get into it because a lot of people think that they can rebuild. You know, trust is think of it like a glass, right? Once you shatter that glass, no matter how well you put it back together, it's never going to look the same. Does that make sense to you? Dun, dun, dun. Now, a lot of people, they show up to relationships with the glass half full. And for some reason, they believe that because of the past things they've been through, that it's their partner's job to make them feel secure, to make them trust them in a relationship, instead of showing up with a clean heart and a clean slate, or working on yourself to get in that level of security for yourself. You know, they come in with this nature that they partner have to do all these things for them to trust them, which is completely asinine. Now, I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into why I'm saying that a little bit later. But a lot of couples, they ask, why are we having these problems, and basically connect with the connectivity to each other. And literally, the most frequent things that people say, you know, whether it's my back channel, whether it's my website, whatever, they always say that I don't trust him or her. You know, trust is always a thing. Okay, so for the most part, both people in the relationship, you know, they only voice when there's something wrong. They don't really voice like, you know what, I think this would be great for us. I think we should try this, you know, or they're like, oh, you know what, this is this way because we're not doing this. They say it in condescending ways and condescending tones, and they wonder why their needs are not being assessed and their needs are not being met. You know, it's all about language and communication and how you deliver. Okay. Now, with that being said, a lot of the problems that people have are extremely complex, right? And of course, it's more than just one issue that's bothering them. But without trust, you don't have a foundation. How can you build anything successful or sustainable or healthy without trust? You just cannot do it. You can have a relationship. I mean, that's what you want to call it. Those type of things I call situationships because you come together situationally. You know, if you don't trust each other, you're not really giving each other a lot. You're not really giving enough to the relationship to make it secure. You know, there's always a lot of questions. There's always a lot of arguments. There's always a lot of define the relationship conversations. And that's because the vulnerability is extremely low. Intimacy is extremely low, and trust is non-existent. Okay. So when you even feel, or like when your intuitive nature kicks in, you're like, you know what, you can't trust this person. A lot of times people listen to their insecurities and they don't live in reality. They don't live in the present. They only listen to their insecurities. They're not listening to their intuition. A lot of people, especially women, they say, oh, it's my intuition. Like, no, you would listen to your insecurities. Whole time the sister you was with or brother you was with wasn't even cheating on you. But you created that division in your relationship because you kept accusing, you kept assuming, because you didn't even trust yourself. And same thing for men. Is like, oh, you don't trust her because you don't trust yourself, or you've been doing some shady shit. You know, period. People don't ever want to talk about that part. Okay, they don't want to talk about that. Now, when you assume that the role of like the co-parent for your partner, and you're going to help and parent, you know, the more incompetent one deal with life in a relationship, you setting yourself up for failure. You setting yourself up for failure. You know, and I'm not into that whole 50-50 thing. I'm into 100 per 100. But I'm talking about when it comes to like building people up, I feel like people should do their own self-work. And when you come together collectively, the work that should be done should be work that's being to build the relationship up. That foundational work, that core work, that building up the housework, that those type of things should be done collectively. Don't feel like that you should be parenting another one and guiding them into how to be in a relationship with you. Because if you got to do all that, then you still got to add security to the relationship. That's a lot for one person to take on. You know, if they're looking for a father, tell them to go home and live with their parents. Period. Okay. You ain't saying nothing but a word. You know. Now, a lot like we said before, relationships are very extremely complex, right? So we can't like put the one thing that makes a couple not trust one another. There's a lot of things, especially if they're doing things to make each other not trust each other. You know, they might be out here living foul. Now that's not our business, but today we're gonna go in and strike a nerve, okay? So when you sense that you cannot trust the other person, the relationship is already on shaky ground. There's no way around it. It's not like, oh, let me tell my friends how I don't trust my partner, but we still love each other. We still okay. You're not okay. Let me tell my guy friends about how I don't trust my wife or my partner, and we still okay. You're not okay. Okay? Trust is required for growth, okay? Trust is required for growth. Now, it's a critical task, you know, that like when you're dealing with like babies and newborns and different things like that, you love them and you nurture them and they trust you. You know, excuse me. There's something that we always say, like sometimes like kids know because they're so vulnerable and they're so beautiful and they're so like sponges, right? So they're in a place of their intuitiveness is on a triple beam, okay? They can tell energy, everything. So like sometimes when people want to hold your baby or they want to come near your baby and the baby just not having it, right? So they're like, oh, snap, the baby don't like you. It's something within that person that's not healed, or there's something like too much energy from that person, and baby just can't be bothered. Or maybe the baby's wet, and maybe the baby just don't know them. The baby don't trust them. It hasn't been established. You know, it could be a million reasons why, but we're talking about the trusting thing, right? So it's basically that conversation about trust and mistrust, right? Within the first year of life is devoted to like resolving the task with the hope that they'll come to trust others, the world that's around them, their environment, and the people, so they can thrive and they can learn and they can, you know, gain knowledge and stuff like that, so they can practice, you know, to make perfect or to show thyself approved, whatever you believe in, whatever statement, and also so they can build resiliency around the things that they're learning, the things that they're attaining, the downloads that they're getting from the universe, right? So children learn to trust by feeling that others provide consistent care. They provide for their needs. They feed them. They demonstrate to them that others love them. Okay? Now, I get it. Why some people are like, you know what? Inside, my partner is a child. I get it. When people provide inconsistent care for a child or for a person, and they're not meeting the needs that they have, like the physiological needs of trusting, of food, clothes, shelter, defense, safety needs, social needs, and things of that nature, it can create trauma. It can create chaos. It can create destruction, right, within anyone, child, as they grow up and they learn how to not rely on people. They learn how to turn inward and just think that they can do everything by themselves. But when they're greeted with love, harmony, peace, understanding, and patience, they are exposed to what they can get out of life, and they're encouraged to go for it, right? So it's a complete difference in trusting and mistrusting with their first few years of life, right? So when you think about it, when you help a child develop, a worldview on trust, they will have a major impact on how they relate to others in relationship as they become adults. Okay? So if you never trust your parents because they're always doing some crazy shit like grabbing you or gripping you up or just like snatching shit from you or treating you bad or mistreating you or things like that, it's gonna be hard for you to trust other people. Even have a lot of friends, it's just gonna be a hard thing for you. For most people, you might have a lot of people around you, but it's gonna be hard for you to have a lot of close people to you. Okay, unless you're dealing with a lot of healed trauma, and that's a great, amazing thing. Point blank, period. Now, when you have like a basic level of trust, like if someone can't even go to the store without you texting them a million times or calling them a million times or just always wanting their attention all the time, then that's problematic. You're not allowing them space to grow as a human. You're not allowing them to grow, and they become stagnated because of the relationship with you. It's not a thing where I can say you can make someone become stagnated because everyone has choices. But the relationship with you doesn't grow. It stays in that area of non-trusting, like a non-trusting zone where nobody's able to grow because there's this contention between both of you, right? So when you think of it like being in a relationship with a partner, and you're gonna like you want to grow, like, okay, we're gonna grow together, we're gonna grow old together, we're gonna do all these things together, but you don't trust each other, or you have that contention, like that elephant in the room that you're never addressing, and you think that you continue on living like that, you're only doing self-suffering. You're only making yourself suffer. You're only hurting yourself. Okay, and that is not the answer. Okay, now so you have to decide whether or not you're going to grow the relationship of trust, because it's going to help you both. Okay, it's going to bring more security to the relationship, more comfortability, and more connectivity. Because when you're uncomfortable, it's harder to connect with someone. When you don't trust someone, it's difficult to connect because you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to be comfortable with them. They don't seem that desirable. Like, you may love them, you may care about them, but that desirability, that comfort level, that vulnerability is just really not there because you don't trust them. Okay, just putting it out there. Okay. Now, trust comes with communication. Now, whether or not you had someone hurt you in a relationship or in the past, like some stuff that you're dealing with, some unhealed things that you're dealing with, that made you feel like you can't really trust people, it's very, very a wise thing to not always say that. Like, I don't trust anyone. I can trust no one, because for a backup letter, you're going to attract people you can't trust, because you're telling the universe there's nobody you can trust. So they're only going to see people that you can't trust, right? So you can say different things, like reframing the things that you say, or reframing your thoughts by saying things like, I'm building up the trust within myself so I can learn to trust others more. I'm using my discernment when it comes to relationships so my relationships flourish in a healthy way. Okay? There's different ways to put things that are more conducive for your growth, instead of saying things to yourself like, I don't trust anyone, I can't trust no one, everybody's full of it. Those things are not going to help you grow. I need a moment. Period. Now, when you think, what does trust and commitment look like in a relationship? Everyone it looks different. I sometimes I just sit around, I'm on social media and I listen. you know, because dropping audio is a new wave or whatever. I listen to podcasts, I listen to YouTubes now, and other content creators, and I listen to their, you know, spaces, and I'm just listening. Sometimes I'll just use the chat and I'm listening to things that people say around relationships, and it's really disgusting because it's almost like people think that their standard is the standard. Like their standard is the standard, and it's the only standard that exists. And if you say anything that goes against them, they want you to be their enemy. Because a lot of people are out here seeking validation, and they're not seeking to be understood or to be impactful. You know, if they are seeking to be impactful, it's not really in a helpful or a healthy way, which is why, because people listen, we went over this around the first week of this podcast. We went over how our brains are hardwired to negativity. It's hardwired to low vibration. So people be like, oh, I have fans, I have this and I have that. No, people are attracted to that shit. Like white on rice. Okay? They attracted to it. That's the thing. You know, their brains are hardwired to it. Now, let's dive into, you know, because trust and communication in a relationship, you know, like I said, it's a complex thing. It's subjective to certain people, how they do things, you know, but we're just going to cover the basics as we always do, give you some tools, give you some skill sets. So let's do a quick room reset, you know, quick podcast reset. This is Empress Coach Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com, Divine Intuitive Show and podcast. This is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up, the one, the only, and the original, often imitated, never duplicated, period. Now, today the topic is, without trust, your relationship will fail. And that's the absolute, bro. Now, we're at the point of the conversation where we're speaking about trust. What does trust and communication possibly look like in a relationship, right? So trust definitely has a meaning of cherishment, like when you cherish someone else, and it's a mutual thing, right? So when you show your partner that you can be counted, that you're dependable, you know, dependability matters. Dependability matters. Dun, dun, dun. These are the things that you need to discuss before you get in a relationship. Okay? These are the things you need to discuss in the beginning. We have a room called Vetting today. We had a podcast the other day on vetting. So just go on Spotify, hit that link, and check it out. Listen in. But we're definitely having a room today where I'm dropping all sorts of free bombs. You don't have to order anything. You don't have to buy a course. Just come in, support. Go to Clubhouse, support. Anyway, now, with that being said, when you make a commitment to someone else, trust is comprised of, you know, that you accept your partner for who they are. You accept them for how they're showing up. You accept them. You appreciate for what they have. They appreciate you for what you have, and you choose your partner and your relationship every day over everything else because that's your foundation. You know, and a lot of people are like, oh, I choose my kids first. You know, and you wonder why your kids is running your motherfucking house. Period. Okay. So, and I'm not saying kids don't come first. I'm just saying that when your kids turn 18, they will be out of your house, and now you have to start your relationship. That's why a lot of people get divorced once their kids go to college, because they don't know each other, because they focus on the children the whole entire time. Now, let me break it down for you, for the ones with the attitudes that's listening in. So, when you are in a relationship, you have to build a foundation. Your children are a part of the house. Like, think of it like a house. You're building a foundation. You're building up the walls. Your children are the framework. Your children are the bedrooms, the kitchen, the walls, the installation. That's your family, right? That's everything that you built in the foundation. That trust, that love, that loyalty, that commitment, that financial stability, that mental stability, that spiritual stability, that emotional stability. All that is in that home, that foundation that you're built together with your partner, right? So that goes into your children. So whatever you built, they can see that. So they see that you prioritize each other and you prioritize the foundation set for them. Does that mean they get less attention? No. Does that mean they're being neglected? No. It doesn't mean none of that. It just means that you have properly chose your relationship, because you know that your relationship is the foundation of everything in that household, you know, besides yourself. Period. That's why, you know, if relationships fall apart, children, you know, have a lot of reactions to that. When you get divorced, it's a lot of bad reactions to that. You know, unless it was extremely contentious and uncomfortable for children, then they probably won't care. But that's a whole nother conversation. Now, back to my point. I had to make that point because a lot of times people be scared to say stuff. Not me. Okay? I need a moment. Moment is over. Woo, had to drink some tea. Now, when you are building that trust in your relationship, and you realize, okay, this is the person I choose for me. Um, you're making intuitive decisions. You're allowing them, like, to come to you. You're coming to them. You're having that oneness, that connectivity, and everything ain't gonna look like the goddamn Brady Bunch. Okay, so let's not even go there. So a lot of things you have to realize in the beginning when you're being intentional before you even commit. Or if you're already in a relationship right now, you're struggling, these tools can help you as well. So keep in mind, keep listening. Now, you have to ask questions like, what does trust mean to you? What areas do you think you need to work on to build trust between you two? If you're struggling with trust, even if you're not struggling with trust, if you have a past where you weren't the most trusting person, these are the great questions to ask as well. What do you need in order from me, like, your partner to trust you more? What do you need in order for you to trust your partner more, right? And another question is, what do you need for them to show that they're committed in the relationship? Because sometimes people be acting all ranky dank and weird, and it's like, hello, is this thing on? Okay. Now, you have to come to a point where you recognize what you're going to do. So I want to talk about some things because we still got some time here. I want to talk about some things that may cause your relationship. It may show up, and it's the place that's not trusting. Okay, so the number one thing is the suspicion. It's nothing like a partner that always is accusatory of you, no matter what you do. They're just always accusing you. So it's literally like the chicken and the egg, right? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? So it's that thing that we talked about before, whether you're trusting your insecurities or you're trusting your intuition. And is the slippery slope, because we don't know which the chicken or egg came first. We just know that chicken produce eggs and people eat eggs and people eat chicken. So hey, which one came first? Okay. Now, obviously, it had to be the chicken to come first because the egg had to be here. So where did the chicken come from? Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Now that's a 15-hour conversation. Okay. So it's sometimes the internal things that you're battling or boggling with that makes you suspicious of people in a relationship. And some people are so untrustworthy that they don't even trust themselves. They don't even trust themselves to confront their partners. They don't even trust themselves to make a decision because they're so untrustworthy. They don't even trust themselves. From a lot of things that may have happened to them, or just the story, the lies that they tell themselves and they believe it. And it's just a messed up place to be in. But a lot of people struggle with trust. And a lot of people are like, oh, you know what? Let me take this out on my partner because I don't trust them. Like, it's a partner thing. I mean, they're not doing anything to, reward it or earn the treatment. Then you're literally setting your relationship up for it's like pouring gasoline on fire. That's what you're doing. You're literally pouring more gasoline, on fire. So keep that in mind. When you get to that behavior, what you could probably do is take a step back and breathe, gain more knowledge about what's going on, and make sure you observe and make sure you're taking notes before you accuse and possibly start some mess that's not even existent. That's for both men and women. All this is for men and women, okay? So if someone lies to you or something, it's going to be hard, like, unless you're one of those people that don't care just because you love someone. You're one of those people, none of these messages are for you. Nothing I have to say is for you today, okay? Because you're going to do what you're going to do no matter what. So if someone lies to you, whether your significant other lies to you, and you feel a slight by them lying to you, and you feel like the trust is starting to diminish for them, and you're not saying anything, you're starting to resent them, but you never say anything, that's a concern. Because it's not like you're throwing things out there to be suspicious. It's almost like you are, they have already, like hit the foundation. It's a tiny little crack. You know how the glass, we're going back to the glass again with the tiny, tiny crack in it that slid there on the crystal. But damn well if you drink it, that shit might cut your lip and split it right open. Huh. Right. So you on shaky ground there, right? You lying to stuff, you lying to me, stuff like that. So so hello, period, right? So with that being said, you have to address what's going on. You have to address it and figure out a way to effectively communicate that even though they're saying it was a little lie and your significant other didn't mean to do something, tell them how it made you feel. Tell them how it makes you think of their relationship, and be honest. Don't say things because they're crying or they're gaslighting you. Don't say things that make them feel better. It's not the opportunity for you to be nursemaid. It's not the opportunity for you to be Captain Save-A-Ho. Not the opportunity for you to be a mammy. It's the opportunity for you to express yourself. So take notes, listen, and express yourself in a way that's healthy. You don't have to yell and scream to get your point across. And now, I get that you're frustrated. I get that people are frustrated, but you have to remember to breathe, because if you want a healthy relationship, you have to be an adult. This is that simple. You have to start doing things that adults do, like nose breathing, calming down, allowing people to speak, even if you don't like that shit. Just allow them to say something. And then when they finish talking out their ass, if they talking out their ass, that's if they are, because a lot of people are not being transparent when it comes to accountability. You don't want to talk about that. That, like I said, that's a whole other conversation. But you can breathe, and you can remember that your intention is to go in to express how you feel. You're not intentionally coming in to argue about anything. You already know the facts. They spoke the facts. They told you they lied to you. Now it's up to you what you want to do with that. So now I don't even like to say you have the power, but I have read 48 Laws of Power, so you kind of got the power. The cards are in your hand. But listen, a true manipulator or a person that's really like a liar, they are not someone you can trust. And if you're dealing with someone like that, it's going to be very difficult for you to express yourself. Because while you're expressing yourself, they're going to gaslight you. They are going to cry. They're going to blame you. They're going to say you're picking on them. They're going to say, I had no choice to lie. Look how you're reacting. In order to catch a mouse in a trap, what do you have to do? You got to put the bait down. Unfortunately, life is a game. Get used to it. Now, what I'm saying is going calm. Breathe when you get upset. When they're upset, continue to breathe. Don't feed into it. Don't cry with them, because then you're going to not talk about how you feel. You're not going to express yourself because they took over and made it about them. So when they finish talking, you say, you know what? I want to speak now. I receive what you're saying. Let me speak. So when you start to speak about what happened, them lying to you, if this is a case of lying, we're just using one example today. We're not going to go 10 examples today because this topic is really complex. So if they are lying to you and they admitted that they lied or whatever, you go on and tell them how it made you feel. It made me feel like I can't trust you because I put all my trust into you and you lied to me when you didn't have to. If you are an open person, if you're not a reactionary person, you're an understanding person, then you can remind them of those things like, I'm a very understanding person. I accept you for who you are. I've never lied to you. And I just, would appreciate the same thing in return. If you plan on staying with them, this is a great, healthy conversation to have. If you don't plan on staying with them, you could twist the conversation however you like to. This advice is not for you. This healthy stuff is not for you, period. I don't give people advice on how to break up with other people unless it's like in a toxic, dangerous situation. The worst thing you could do is not communicate. The worst thing you can do is not communicate. When you shut down communication, when something's wrong, it gets worse. Resentment. Have you ever heard of resentment? Resentment builds. And when you do communicate, you gonna snap. Period. Snap. Didn't it sound like the noise said snap? Okay, so you finna like blow up like a volcano, and you can't blame nobody but yourself because you did not effectively communicate. You did not use emotional intelligence. When you are ghosting people, when you are ignoring people, that's childish. None of this stuff is emotionally intelligent. None of this stuff is effective communication. It's childish. It's like, if you want to do that, then be alone. Don't be in a relationship to anyone. especially to the ones that's, hurting people that's in a relationship and, actually doing things where, people can't trust you. Excuse me. So when a relationship starts to lose trust and communication, the communication centers, because it's like a different level of communication and stuff like that, to effective communication. Well, when that happens, the communication centers start to shut down. So when you don't trust someone, it's like you're probably not keen to believe what they say. Nothing they say is the truth. And the whole point of the conversation is useless. It's only making each other feel bad with no hopeful results. Okay, because if neither person is basically working for the benefit of the relationship to be healthy, and they both have problems with effective communication, honest communication, and assertive communication without getting offended, the discussion is basically useless. Um, you know, um, so it's like basically you have to have that consistent, that steady, that streamline of communication, because there's not much hope for repairing the lack of trust. It's just not. If you cannot communicate in a healthy way, stop fooling yourself. Stop fooling yourself. All you want to do is yell and act like a child and have your way. It's not. Then let me get this clear. It's okay to express yourself emotionally. If you're angry, you can express it. But if every conversation you have, you're yelling and screaming and being demanding, then why are you in a relationship with someone else? Because nobody wants to hear that bullshit every time they talk to you. Period. It's really that simple. It's like people got all these PhDs, but they can't even speak English. Like they can't even, speak in healthy communication ways, like effective communication. I almost said English because it started with an E, but I meant to say effective communication, to be clear for somebody to start something. What it does is it drives a wedge between you. Even if someone hasn't done anything, just the thought of it, it can make someone go crazy. We've seen it. We've seen the show Snap. We've seen the Black Feminist Irate, unfortunately. We've seen so many things in this world that literally shows us that people get carried away with their own emotions. They're not addressing, they're not processing them. And the lies that they tell themselves, or the stories they tell themselves, or other people tell them, they believe them. And they're not communicating effectively to find out the truth. They're not communicating effectively to come to a resolve, even if that means ending a relationship. They're not doing these things, so they're walking around with their chicken, like with the chicken with their head cut off, because they still be running around, absolutely batshit crazy. Okay, and nothing has been served and honored. Like the relationship is not honored. And I do understand about betrayal, lack of trust, a lot of factors that we already discussed previously, and those factors do come into play when the divide is created, of course. But if you're someone who's working on your relationship, because that's what this podcast is about, sustainable, healthy relationships, is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. Now, if you are trying to sustain a relationship and try to get past that level of that breach in trust, then you're literally going to have to communicate. You might have to like take a break, like Ross said, we were on a break. We were on a break, period. Okay. You may have to, let them know, like, I just need a couple days to think about this. If you live together, just let them know, hey, I don't feel like talking today. Can we make an appointment to talk about this? Maybe on Saturday or Sunday if it's the beginning of the week. I just want to get through my week. I just want to be able to work through the week. Can we just, talk about this later? I don't need to be thinking about this all day, every day. It's not something I want to do. Those are things you can do to be able to get through. And it's not putting it off to the side. It's making an appointment when you have time, when you're not going to be frustrated, when you're not going to be exhausted, to actually sit down and work on your relationship. Because those people that come right through the door after work and just start ramming at people and screaming and yelling and just want to talk about relationships every 5 minutes of the day, like, I hope nobody wants to be in a relationship with you. I'm not even trying to be smart. It just is what it is. Like, do you not have any coof with you? Like, do you not have, like, you don't think that you can be patient a little bit? You don't think you can wait? You don't think you could just talk to somebody calmly? And it's basically like because you feel like the trust has been breached, that you are lost. You feel hurt, and you're acting out on that hurt. And it's weird though. The one thing is weird that a lot of people act out on their hurt and they still want to be with people. So my whole thing is, if you want to be with somebody, you can't act out on your hurt. It's just not gonna work. I mean, you can be angry, you can express yourself, but every single day you're acting out your hurt and you're still claiming you want to be with someone. That's not you working on a relationship. That's not you learning to trust again. That's not you showing vulnerability. That's not you showing up as yourself. Now you have this guard up, and it's impossible for you to trust them again. So you're literally in a space where you're making people suffer for no fucking reason. Leave. Like I said, I'm not giving you no tips on how to leave. I'm not going to do that. But I'm telling you, if that's how you feel every day, you feel trapped and stagnant and just frustrated, and you just want to take it out on people every day because they breached your trust, even though you said you want to stay in a relationship, you're doing yourself a disservice. And we don't play that here. Period. We don't play that here. Dun, dun, dun. Right. So you have to realize, to me, I feel like the next thing is like what two people typically do is they turn to others. They start telling their business, whether it's on social media, whether it's to their social group of friends. And it's almost like their friends know more about their relationship than the person that they're in a relationship know. And to me, that's dangerous ground. I've been there. I've been in that place of hurting so bad that when I talk to my person, my life person, I would pretend everything was okay and get right off the phone with them and cry for hours to my friends how much I hated them or how much they hurt me and why did they do this to me. Because I didn't have the courage to stand up for myself. I didn't have the courage to love. I didn't have the courage to trust them again. But I stayed there because I didn't want to lose them. It felt like something I was going to lose. Not realizing that at the end of the day, I was losing myself. Hello? Is the thing on? Period, right? So keep that in mind when you're listening to this. Keep that in mind. You will lose yourself giving your all to situations that do not serve you. Talking to all your friends, I'm sorry. Find a good friend you could trust that's not biased. Go to a therapist. Go to a relationship coach. Go to somebody. Go to an elder. But for the most part, your friends know this person. For the most part. So they're going to be biased. And they're not going to tell you anything that's good for you. Some friends are jealous. And I'm not saying everybody's friends are jealous of them. Not saying that. I'm just talking about human nature and what it's comprised of. Okay? Be careful with that. Because sometimes when you're in that contentious part of your relationship where a trust has been breached and you're trying to work it out, other people minding your business can fuck your relationship up. Period. I know that I told y'all this one was going to be a little bit long today and it was going to be raw like it always is. But when it comes to breaches in trust and relationships failing, we take it seriously because we're all about sustainability in relationships. Period. Okay? So just be extremely careful on who you share. Stop oversharing. Most people are happy you're going through what you're going through. Most people want you to struggle through it because they struggle through it. Be careful about sharing what you had to go through. I gave y'all some examples. The reason why I share examples is not for you to end up the same way I ended up with a broken heart and all this other stuff. Okay? Not good. Not good at all. So just be mindful that when you're going to someone outside of your relationship, you can just go to the person inside the relationship with you and tell them the same stuff, and I realized later on, like a year or two later, that just talking to this person, it wasn't that bad. Telling them how they made me feel, it wasn't that bad. Even though they probably couldn't handle it, I still got the chance to express myself. I felt my weight start feeling lighter. I start feeling happy, more content again. And being able to deal with, being able to confront my issues with that person, it made the relationship better. Instead of telling friends and telling this person and that person, the people that really didn't care. They wanted the relationship to fail for some reason. They wanted that to happen. They didn't want that to flourish. They didn't want it to expand. They wanted the worst outcome ever because sometimes people want you for themselves. And that's all I want to say about that. So like I said, be mindful with who you're sharing with, okay? A lot of times when someone has breached your trust, people get crazy. And I don't use crazy lightly because a lot of people get crazy, and that's why people like me exist, okay? Like coaches and different things like that. Because we gotta have a filter, like a buffer somewhere to keep them from going real crazy. But no, really, seriously, when people breach in trust for some reason, people feel like they can put the belt down, like whoosh, like they can slap the belt down. And they can start locking it down. You gotta come home every night. You gotta call me every day. You gotta check in because that's gonna help them trust them. That's not gonna help you trust them. It's not gonna help you trust them. That's your insecurities. And now they're on a 10. They on a 10, babe. They on a 10. and you're never going to trust them, because if you got to put all these stipulations on a grown ass person for you to trust them again, you need to really reevaluate that situation. If they can't show you on their own through their actions, through their support, through their commitment, through their empathy, through their love, then ask yourself, reevaluate. That's all I gotta say. Reevaluate. Because at the end of the day, putting all that stuff on people, you know, that they can't hang out with their friends anymore, that you always want to go with them, now you're stuck up their ass like toilet paper. It's just like, really? Relationships are supposed to add to your life, okay? They're not supposed to take away. You know, and a lot of people don't understand that. They think they get in a relationship with people and they're all about control. They're all about controlling others. They're all about being with other people. Like, it's the romanticism for me. It's the romanticism, because relationships are hard work. Like, I've been working on the railroad. Okay? Period. Now, with that being said, let me go check out. See if anybody wants to come up and share. Anything of that nature. Dun, dun, dun. Let me go to Spoon. I always go to Spoon. Well, I went to Spoon first. Hey guys. Hey, Spoon. Hi, Spooncasters. How y'all doing? Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being here. Okay. Whatever. So, but today was supposed to be StreamYard day. Okay. Now I'm going to go check out Clubhouse. See if anybody wants to come up and share anything. So with that being said, yes, I think we did good today. You can find all of our podcasts, the last 30, this is the 32nd episode. Yes, it's season 1, the 32nd episode. Already, we've been going 32 days. 32 days, yes, period. So keep that in mind. We've been going 32 days, and it's just a wonderful place to be in. It's just so wonderful, and we're so grateful to people that support us. So when you come across this podcast, whatever networking you're on, just share it. Send it to a friend if they need it. Listen to it for yourself, and keep in mind that without you, then who? Okay. Now, with that being said, this has been Empress Coach Rena Nicole at RenaNicole.com, Divine Intervention Show and Podcast, The Love Experiences in the Curve.net. Now, we will see y'all tomorrow, 7 days a week, 365, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day. And this has been the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. You know, period. Like I said before, often imitated, never duplicated. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day.